everybody can hear me? Yeah? Everybody can hear me? All right. My name is Jim O'Gean. It's a friend of Ben's for many years. Directed a lot of the goofy videos that you saw. You might have seen me throwing stuff at him, and Ben was always one for going the extra mile on shoots and stuff. He's always made me laugh, and miss Ben a lot. Oh, I'm sorry. Up here, my friend Alex. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I am Alex. I co-directed actually with Jim and produced the movie Blood on the Page. Some of you saw that, I'm sure. Ben was incredible in that. So different, and Jim and I have often talked about it over the years, just how much effort he put into that performance. We all knew what Ben was like in real life, so to see him on screen and to be able to really dial something in so well was an awesome moment for all of us, and I miss him too.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out today. Really appreciate it. Very nice to see such a strong turnout for Ben. We're here today to celebrate the life of Ben Peller. Today's going to be filled with great memories, great music for a great life.
Guys, at this time we ask that you silence your cell phones, and please also, if you have not done so yet, go ahead and grab a drink at the bar, because at the close of our ceremony today we are definitely going to be toasting to Ben. So let's all make sure we've got a drink in hand too.
And at this time we're going to have a music interlude. We're going to be playing Cursum Perfico by Enya, followed by a live performance at the end by Lorraine and Jonathan.
the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend, the end of our elaborate plans, the end, everything that stands, the end, no safety or surprise, the end. I'll never look into your eyes again. Can you picture what will be so limitless and free? This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend, the end.
Thank you, Lorraine and Jonathan. Really appreciate that. It was incredible. Today's the day for us to really pay our respects to Ben and truly remember with fondness about how he touched all of our lives. And I'm so glad to see all these faces here. A lot of you I've not seen in maybe even 10 years or longer. It really is a wonderful gathering. Glad we're all here again.
And no, for my hot mic, sorry. No, for myself, it's a big shock to hear of Ben's passing. It's very upsetting. It's very hard. It's a very tough day. And I remember where I was, when I heard. But for Ben, it wasn't like Ben to leave a party early. If you knew Ben, he was the guy that he practically had to kick out of the house, right? He would shut the place down. So today, we should really make this a celebration of his life, and really want to celebrate with the appropriate blend of gravitas, theatrics, and frivolity.
So some of our favorite moments that we all have are one-on-one with Ben. And I just recall him being such a genuine soul. And definitely one of my favorite parts about working on our film together was the day that we ended up actually going and shooting this. Day one, Ben actually stayed over at my family's home, and I recall him getting up in the morning and us getting ready for our big day, and my mom wanting to do something special for him. She had put together some sort of like a smoothie, a drink to kind of pep up his energy or whatnot for the day. I'm sure all of you can see where this is going here, but so he of course gladly accepts the drink, and as we know, he's always quite charming with the ladies and tried to charm my mother as well, and thank Lorraine so much for his drink. But then he turns around and says to me, do you have anything to put in this? Yeah, I'm at Mom's house. Come on.
Yeah, and I remember, a lot of my favorite moments are when Ben was pulled away from the crowd or pulled away from the party, and it was just you and him. And he'd really open up and really just bare his soul to you. It was just really interesting. He's such a different guy. He's not putting on the show or anything. He's there. He's Ben, and you're just talking to him, and he just relayed. One time we had this conversation about the script he was writing about two friends struggling with religion. Really powerful. I was like, man, that's really deep. That's super interesting. I hope you finish it. And a lot of people, I guess, they wouldn't know that he had that religious conviction. is a lot deeper than a lot of people knew.
So at this time, we'd like for Blaze to come up here and read from Psalm 23, please. Thank you.
Alright, so we're going to be working with Psalm 23 in the program. You may need to get your cell phones out to take a look. Can everybody see it in the back? Probably not. So I'll give you a moment to do that. When you're ready, give me a cell phone wave. Yeah, please we can put it on the monitor, but I didn't think of that.
That's alright.
Ben did like dingy bars. Cell phones, anybody? I'm getting one, I'm getting two. Everybody able to see? Awesome. Whoa.
Yeah.
We love Ben. Oh, this is sweet. You guys should see this from this side. Alright, so should we get started? Psalm 23, a psalm of David. And you'll have to join in. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me on the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Thank you, Blaze. I want you all to take a moment here and look around the room and look at the people that are here. Ben really touched our lives, and each of these people here are people that truly cared about Ben at the core and who he was and what he represented to each of us. He made us laugh. We had great times together. He was that exuberant and spirited soul that we will forever know as our friend Ben Peller.
Now it's our pleasure to bring up Scott McCullough. And Scott, myself, and Alex, and Ben, we started our own production company when we started the film. We were the Four Horsemen. And Ben really got a kick out of that because, you know, he's really big into wrestling. Four Horsemen, obviously back from the old WCW days, but I don't know. I'm getting into wrestling now, so I digress. I'm sorry. I'm trying to sound like Ben. But Ben, I mean, Scott is such a good friend of Ben's. Ben would affectionately call him Scotty the Body. Yeah, oh, Scotty the Body. So right now, you know, we're going to have Ben come up. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to have Scott come up and share some words about Ben and his life. And then afterward, if anybody else would like to come up, we welcome you to do so. If you do have some words you'd like to share with everybody, please feel free to do so. Scott?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Born in Northern California, raised in Illinois, and returned to California to attend Cal State University in Northridge. I met Ben in Professor Gutierrez's screenwriting class in 1995, the decade also known as Ben's driving years. As fate would have it, the chair next to me was empty. Ben walked into class wearing a t-shirt that read, Ingve Who? And I'm thinking, cool, this guy knows his Swedish neoclassical shred guitar players as I do, because he's wearing an Yngwie Malmsteen t-shirt, who is a popular guitarist in rock music circles. As I prattle on about Ingve to Ben, he has no idea what I'm talking about. But you're wearing his shirt. Oh, this, he answers. I was in desperate need of a shirt last night. It's not even mine, but it's still nice to meet you. From that moment, a friendship and writing partnership was born. We quickly realized that we both had a lot in common. Ben tried to be a professional wrestler around the same time I tried to be a musician. We both toured and performed in our professions to varying degrees of success. But Ben's new plan was to conquer the world with his words by writing novels, poems, and screenplays. And that sounded good to me. So we graduated together with the most practical of college degrees, screenwriting. What I didn't know until years later was that writing and wrestling were dreams Ben had as a small child, and he wasn't afraid to pursue them, and to his credit and hard work, he accomplished them as well. I knew Ben wrestled in various matches, but it wasn't until a few years back a couple of YouTube videos, which you saw earlier, showed that he was in televised WWF matches, one even commentated on by one of his wrestling idols, Macho Man Randy Savage. I also learned that Ben was writing his own stories and drawing comics since he could first hold a pencil, and these dreams of writing and wrestling found themselves intertwined in 2000 as they culminated into a publishing deal with Time Warner Books. And I would like to read a passage.
Excuse me, Kylie.
That's all right. We have commercial sponsors. This is from Ben's book from Time Warner Publishing called Living the Gimmick. My desire to be a professional wrestler was with me all the time, as powerful and well-defined as other kids' dreams of becoming a magician or an astronaut. Although pro wrestling was as esoteric as those professions, it lacked their respectability. This made it even more appealing. Although not technically an illegitimate child, the world had branded me different and inferior because of circumstances I couldn't control. I savored being at odds with that world. The walking weapon, Davy Starr, Michael Harding, a.k.a. Ben Peller, didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk. He lived and wrote with a spirited fervor and still at times participated in the two most hated words an artist wants to hear, a day job. But Ben maybe had just 4 of these, scouting missions or research assignments, as I called them, on what one could get away with in the 9-to-5 world. And with Ben, that's quite a lot. Such as downloading thousands of songs at work on your work computer. But this employer happened to be the Grammy organization. And most of these research missions ended in a blaze of glory, like when being introduced to a new HR manager after a sexual harassment lecture, he called her sweetheart and gave her a nice big hug, which she returned with a pink slip. Ben was a one-of-a-kind character. Your adventures with Ben didn't even necessitate being in the same room as him. Often telephone calls were a remarkable experience. Torturous if you were a telemarketer that happened to dial his line. Ben would usually answer the phone with his embellished hello, a guttural scream of your name, or the dreaded pop quiz where you had to guess where his quote of the day was from. Over the years, I knew I had a decent shot of being correct if I answered either Citizen Kane, a John Updike book, or the Dukes of Hazzard. My favorite thing to hear would be, "Do I have a story for you?" And as always, Ben never disappointed. There was the vasectomy he decided to put on his credit card one time. The time he called Tony and I to tell us how strangers stole his leather pants right off his body after he passed out one night. How he flew to London just for the weekend. And the cease and desist letter he received from the Los Angeles County Library System because he was populating library shelves with his various novels, which was also a technique he adopted for supermarket bookshelves. Now, these were just phone calls. 24 years of friendship produced outings that rival what I read in books about the Doors and Hunter S. Thompson, but without an indecent exposure arrest or intoxicated gunplay. But probably my fondest memories will be just writing and talking, Ben in his rocking chair, and me wandering around his apartment looking for a clean place to sit. We all have our war stories with Ben, Rambo, the Lizard King reincarnate, and these experiences we've shared with Ben, he used as fuel for his writing. This is from To Live and Drink in LA. In a land that can breed illusions as rampantly as Los Angeles, sometimes you need belief. Belief that you belong. Belief that you're worthy and that your path is a notable one. It's this faith that can blaze through reality and forge a shelter from passing years. In LA, as in life, it's best to make only the moment matter. For the moment is our only present, our only home, one that is us, all our own. Just make sure to keep on your pants. For a guy who never owned a cell phone and stopped driving a car over a decade ago, he was always in touch and on time. He always came through his promise and never missed a deadline, self-imposed or otherwise. We all know Ben loved to perform, and of course with Ben you got a pre-show and after-show free of charge. But he took his various dalliances into the arts very seriously. He put days of rehearsal time in with his co-star, friend, and accomplished actor Grant, and the directing team of Alex and Jim before we shot our film Blood on the Page. He had all his lines memorized and nailed his marks. He also loved music. We recorded some of his poems to music, and I'm upset that those have yet to be found, and I'm even more upset that I can't find his earnest attempts at singing Rick Springfield's Jesse's Girl. The way he warmed up his voice and then sang with his eyes closed, it was as if he transported himself out of my music studio / walk-in closet into Abbey Road Studios. We went to tons of compliments of his donating blood during KLOS-sponsored Red Cross events. These invitations elicited the same two questions from me. Who would want your blood, and why do you want to see Kenny Loggins so badly? And then there was the poor DJ at Jim's wedding. He wouldn't release tables to go to the buffet until someone from said table could yell out a title of a song with love in it. Well, Ben grabbed the microphone and came through with verse, chorus, verse of You Give Love a Bad Name. Ben was a very generous guy. After hanging out all night in Santa Monica, I got nailed by one of those unscrupulous towing companies. Ben not only split the cab fare to me to get to the impound lot, he also pitched in for the cost of getting my car out. And like any good friend, he helped me get revenge. There was a large custom sign with the company's logo on it attached to a wall around the corner from the cashier's window. We took turns chatting up the guy while the other worked the screws out of the wall. That sign was displayed triumphantly in my bathroom for years. But in all seriousness, Ben truly gave of himself by donating blood regularly to the Red Cross, and I believe almost every Thanksgiving that I've known him, he donated his time serving meals to those in need. A former pro wrestler, author of renown, and dedicated to causes involving the less fortunate, Ben was truly one of a kind and had an amazing life. He will be greatly missed but never forgotten, and his story will always live on. He is survived by his Uncle Larry, Aunt Sherry, Aunt Monty, Cousin Lee, Cousin Richard, and many loving members and friends, family members and friends. And lastly, from Living the Gimmick, the last chapter of that book, the last paragraph of that book, outside the red sky wraps Earth in a hushed splendor. I tap the clear barrier in time, the seconds that move the sun. A collection of energy patiently approaching this planet. Millions of years from now, an unseen cycle will find completion, and the same force that had brought life for so long will bring death. Outside, the red turns black, but I am not afraid. I feel a part of this transition of light somewhere deep inside, ready to challenge the potential of dreams and make life a wonderfully ungraspable portrait. I am just me, I say. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. At this time, if anybody else wants to talk, sharing the stories they'd like, feel free.
Jill wants to come on.
Jill wants to come up. Okay.
Yep.
Have Jill come up. Hope everybody's having a good time. And make sure you get a wristband if you haven't done so.
Hi, I'm Ben's friend Jill, and I have something to say. I know Ben was a very productive and prolific person, but he also had a little bit of, he would struggle with life purpose occasionally. And so I just want to say actually to Ben out loud here, because he is at a seat at that bar somewhere, I know I feel him here, that I'm going to talk about what my opinion of part of the reason he was sent here to live with us, live among us. He was always like an MC. Ben, I think you were sent here to ignite, to incite, to spark, to fuel, to shake up, to impassion, to live, to love, to inflame, to badger, to cajole, to annoy, to anger even, and sometimes to exasperate. But always, always to question the status quo. Whatever demons you faced, you managed to write, publish, and tirelessly promote 3 novels in 3 years. You spread your words, you made your mark, mission accomplished. That's just one thing. And then I think there's a quote that I found that I think if Ben were here, he would probably say to us. And it's actually, I think I'm quoting it correctly, I think it's from Good Will Hunting, and it's actually a line that Robin Williams spoke. Please don't worry so much. In the end, none of us have very long on this earth. Life is fleeting, and if you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky when the stars are strung out across the velvety night. And when a shooting star streaks across the blackness, turning night into day, make a wish. Think of me. Make your life spectacular.
Anyone else would like to come up? Now would be the time. Don't be shy. I'm up here. All right. All right. Great.
Hi everybody, my name is Bill Judd, and I met Ben, actually, well, first I have to say on behalf of Augie Loya, Eric Anderson, and Jason Walker, who couldn't be here, they send their condolences. They were good friends. We all started wrestling school together, but I actually met Ben the night before the wrestling school, and I was at an event at the Forum, and I was 21, and just, you know, I'm glad that I can go and buy a beer, and I'm walking up to the concession stand, and I have my Slammers t-shirt on because I'm trying to advertise for the school and all that, and this guy jumps out, and he goes, "Slammers! I'm going there tomorrow! I'm starting my training tomorrow!" And I'm like, "That's good, I'm going to get a beer. You want to come?" And he's like, "Oh, he wasn't 21, he goes, "I'll buy you a beer." And I'm like, "Oh, great, let's go." Instant friends. Where's it? Uh-oh. Did I unplug it? This is a very cool 50s microphone, though. Anyway, so from that point on, we were instant friends, and there's just, I would tell everybody, you know, maybe I didn't make $1 million as a wrestler, but I had $1 million in stories. And this week on Monday, I thought, I want this to be the longest week ever because I don't want Saturday to come. And I thought of story after story, and I'm like, man, I got $1 million just in Ben Peller stories. Are you kidding me? He was just always, as I was telling Grant earlier, I knew that any time of the day or night, I called Ben, he'd have a cocktail for me and the shirt off his back. If I needed somewhere to stay, I knew he was always there. I just knew in the back of my mind he was one of those very few people that I've met in life that I knew he was just all in. He was there for you. When he was a friend, he was a friend for life, and he was there for you all the time. And so our friendship grew. He started sending me his manuscripts when he went from wrestling to writing. And then afterwards, I went back to college to get my degree, and he helped me with writing and how to be a writer. And it was just such a good friendship, and one of those things that he's probably one of the best souls that I've encountered in my entire life. And I've been sitting here crying, and I thought I was going to come up here and cry, and I'm actually a lot more composed than I thought I would be. And I want to leave time for everybody else. I could sit forever talking about him, but he was like a brother to me, and he was, I can't even put into words. I can't put it into words what he meant to me. And every year, and I'm so happy they put a picture that I took of him at the beach. Every year we would go camping, because a lot of times he was so busy and so everywhere with everybody that I couldn't, that was the one day a year we would spend together. That was, no TVs, no radios, just us at the beach, some cocktails, I would say, John, where's the cocktails? And it just, I can't put into words what he meant to me. And I'm so happy to see so many people here to celebrate his life, because he truly was a great person. And I love you, buddy, wherever you are. I love him. And that's it. Thanks.
My name is Grant Bush. Scotty, you said something about Vin called you and said that he had taken care of a vasectomy on a credit card. I don't know what happened. It was about a week earlier. We were sitting at his place, and he says, Grant, you think I'd make a great father? And I said, yeah, you would, but you're too selfish to really dedicate the time. And because you're a writer and you really are into your thing. And he said, you think I should get a vasectomy? And I said, well, unless you want to take care of somebody else for 18 years, yeah. And I'll be damned. You tell me that he paid for it on his credit card. Well, I'm going to tell you, he called me when he got it done, and he said, Grant, can you come and get me? So it just goes to show you got to watch what you say to Ben Peller. He actually did it. So when I met Ben through Lee, his cousin, and his surrogate everything over at the Belle Blue, he was a young kid, I think maybe 18 or 19, was just so full of life and fun, and he quickly became like my little brother. And I never had one, so he quickly filled a spot. And anything I did in the way of film and television and what I was working on, I included him, and we had fun. And of course, we did the ceremonial drinking thing at his house when he finally moved away. But we had a lot of great times at the Belle Blue and on Arcadia Terrace. And then he followed my career, and every home that I moved into after Arcadia Terrace, he was the first person there. And we christened it, like a couple of guys would christen it. And I asked him one day, I said, you ever been to that Halloween thing up in West Hollywood? And he said, no. And so took him up there with my girlfriend at the time, and he was amazed with all the wildness that was going on. He was still young to Los Angeles, and So he was indoctrinated, and I sent him on a road, which I probably shouldn't have. But it was a lot of fun. And all of those years and all of those times were so much fun, right up until Blood on the Page. And then after that, you know, he followed me over to a series I did, and we had fun there. And this is just so very, very surreal to me. So I just wanted to say that I'm glad that he made his life so very important and special to so many of you. And we are all here to celebrate him. And Ben, he told me I was the only one who would allow him to call him Benji. But Ben, today, just want to say we all miss you and I love you so much. And we will see each other again.
Would anyone else like to come up and say a few words? Don't be shy. Come on.
Well, I'm Auntie Bonnie, and I'm not going to say anything from me because I can't. But I am going to say most of Ben's adult life, he lived about 3 blocks from here. Hence, that's why we're here tonight. A favorite hangout of his. So he lived in an apartment complex for what, I don't know, 15 years. I think it was rent control, whatever. But his apartment manager, Michael, had got there after Ben. Michael's only been there 8 years, and said Ben's been the longest tenant they ever had. And Michael, unfortunately, couldn't be here because he was in New York this weekend. But he did write this to me, and I thought it summed up things pretty well. And he says, I will always remember Ben fondly. For me, there's a large void in the apartment building. Oh, I'm sorry. Without having him there. As one of 58 tenants, Ben's enthusiasm and warmth was unparalleled, and I always enjoyed seeing him around and discussing his writing career as well as various hot topics of the moment. Since his passing, it is apparent just how much he was loved and admired by many, and that his memory and spirit will live on. I wish I could be there on the 15th to help celebrate his life and hear stories from those who were closest to him. I will be there in spirit and will especially think of him on that day. I know it will be wonderful, bittersweet, and memorial, as Ben always wrote on his rent envelope every month, without fail, cheers. From Michael, cheers for Ben Peller. Ben was no angel, but he was a Cupid that shot an arrow and will always leave a loving scar on our hearts. Thank you.
Any of the family like to come up now? I see you indicating. No, okay. All right, well then now we would love to have Scott come back up here and read a poem of Ben's, Unbroken.
Unbroken was published in a publication called The Lynx Eye in 1997, and again it's called Unbroken. In the twilight you sit, slaughtered by years, parched skin yellowed and murmuring softly in tune with a fading night air. You inhale and exhale, breathe slowly, edging over the simulacra which children view as secure confines of our world, while the unfathomable subsides. Now gentle wisps of light, seen not through eyes, filter easily through walls of skin to touch your heart in the shadows, and your spirit catches their heat on your breath's final surrender as they dance through worlds unbroken.
Thanks, Scott. We'll now have a video presentation behind me here, very kindly edited by Mark Collins.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah. yeah, there's a picture of me. I had hair, and I didn't recognize it was me. It's like, who's that guy? I'm, oh my gosh, that's me. When I had hair, very little I did. Today and now, just a moment in time that we have. So we'd like to take this moment to have a moment of silence. And we'll dedicate it to each and every awesome memory that each and one of us have of Ben. This time we'd like to ask Blaze to read from us John 14, verses 1 through 6.
Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And when I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and take you to myself, that where I am, you may be also. And you know the way where I am going. Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? Jesus said to him, I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid.
Now have Mary Connery come up and read a poem by Rumi, please.
Hi, everybody. How fucking lucky were we to know Ben? I mean, can we just say, really? And maybe let out a hoot and a scream, because he would love us to just rejoice. An amazing man. He was my lover and my friend, and he used to ask me, tell me a story. If there was a lag in the conversation, he said, Mary, tell me a story. And he taught me how to reflect, because when someone asked you mid-sentence after a few vodkas and Gatorades, tell me a story, I wasn't as apt to be able to do it as he was. But he taught me to reflect and to tell stories and to be spontaneous. And the 15, 20 years I knew him, 15, what an amazing mentor of life. Joy, excitement, fervor, just never a dull moment, please. You couldn't afford to have one with Ben. Just the love I had for this man, I can't compare it to any other man I've known. Quite frankly, I can't. And next to my father, which is huge. So I'm going to read this poem, and I'm not going to cry, because Ben's spirit is telling me, I want you all to be happy, and I want you all to live in the joy of my life. So I'll try. This is a poem by Rumi. How should the soul not take wings, when from the glory of God it hears sweet, kindly call? Why are you here, soul? Arise. How should a fish not leap fast into the sea from dry land, when from the ocean so cool the sound of the waves reaches it? How should the falcon not fly back to his king from the hunt, when from the falconer's drum it hears, oh, come back? Why should not every Sufi begin to dance Adam-like around the sun of duration that saves from impermanence? What graciousness, and what beauty, what life bestowing, what grace. If anyone does without that, what air, what suffering. Oh fly, my soul bird. Fly to your primordial home. You've escaped the cage of now. Your wings are spread in the air. Go on, Ben. We are going, and we're coming, oh soul. from this world of separation to union, to a world beyond worlds. Call out, O soul, to proclaim now that you are rules and king, Ben, that you have the grace of the answer, and you know the question well. I love you, Ben.
Thank you, Mary. So we're going to have our final reading. It's actually going to be one of Ben's own. He co-authored a book with Blaze titled 101 Ways to Get to Heaven. Compromise useful to-do list of good karmas. This was the final entry in the book, and we'll ask Alice Gray to go ahead and read that for us.
This one is titled, "Accept that you are one day going to pass on from this life." There is an ancient ninja saying that reads, "You have been granted a death so that you may realize the startling significance of why you are here as a human being and not as a cooking pot." Ladies and gentlemen, you are a human being. It stands to reason the karma we build up in this life will follow us to whatever may lie next. You can make a difference in people's lives. You don't have to write a brilliant novel, discover a cure for a dreaded disease, or rescue a person from a burning building. Faith need not be absolute. Even Mother Teresa had doubts about her own faith, and battled with the accursed blessing of being human. We all have doubts, we all have nightmares, we all have demons. But it is our choice to, before we leave this current incarnation, either enhance people's lives or cripple them. Presumably you're reading this book because you are a practical person, unsure of any ironclad text or religion that will earn you a ticket to heaven. Well, bad news and good news. We don't know any concrete way to get to heaven either. Not only that, but we are all going to die one day. The good news is that as you read this, you are alive. Today, at this moment, capable of taking another step toward heaven. Act accordingly.
Everybody has a drink. At this time, we're going to go ahead and offer up a toast. So if everyone could please raise their glasses. Final toast for Ben. So let's remind ourselves that the dead reside not in their earthly remains, but in the hearts and minds of the living. The separateness, the uniqueness of each human life is the basis of our grief. Look through the whole world, and there's no one like Ben Peller. But he still lives on in our memories. Though no longer a visible presence with us, he will always be a member of our family and of our circle. Through the influence he has had upon us and the special part he played in each and every one of our lives. Cheers, Ben Peller. Cheers. Yeah. All right. So we're going to have Lorraine and Jonathan. They're going to sing us out. What? Oh, not quite? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss that? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, please. I apologize.
We'll just have to do a second toast, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I missed that. Oh, man. Look, I had that there and everything. I apologize. Blaze is going to go ahead and give us a final prayer at this time.
Today we're gathered to celebrate the life of Ben Peller. Today we lay to rest his soul knowing he's free from worldly troubles. We ask that the God that he kept in his heart embrace him now. Today we say goodbye for now, but not forever. I'm blanking.
Right.
Today we send our love up
Today we send our love up to heaven to him. He may not be with us in person today, but we know he abides in spirit. Rest in peace, Ben Ramar Peller. Today we lay you to rest, but our memories of you will live on until the day we meet again in the hereafter. Blessed be. Amen.
Toast again? All right, let's toast again. Hey, why not? He would say, come on, another toast, damn it! Get a drink! Come on!
How about this? Would anybody else like to come up and say a toast at all?
Yeah, anybody else want toast? I did my toast.
All right.
Yeah,
Sounds
all right.
good. Come on up.
So I didn't know Ben probably as well as a lot of you did, but I actually met him through Blaze, and we hung out a few times. And it was when I started day trading, and he was day trading. And we would talk about day trading, and I would get so jealous because I would lose a ton of money, and he would like buy this stupid penny stock that made so much. Like, yeah, I just made all this money today. And one thing that I loved about Ben, we used to go to parties together, and he could get so obnoxious it would almost be embarrassing.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. You know. And I would just be like, "Oh my God, he's really getting embarrassing." And then at the end of the day, you're like, "Oh my, all right, you know, it's Ben. We love Ben." And he came to a comedy show that I did. It was the first time I did some stand-up at the Comedy Store. And that really meant a lot to me. So, we didn't hang out that much, but I kind of wish we had one more time together. So, I guess this is it. So, toast to Ben.
This is the woman who took care of Ben since he was a little tiny boy.
Well, Ben I loved him very much. I used to walk him to school and he had a habit of picking berries on the way to school. His pockets were just full of berries all the time. I had to make sure that I got them all out, or his underwear was all red and blue. And he liked to collect off of bottles. And he collected toothpicks and matchsticks. Everything, and beer cans, you know. And I took him to the park, and he liked to slide down the hills. And he was at Grandpa's house at that time. And the first thing in the morning, he would get out of his little bed, come running into me, and we would snuggle into bed. Before I took him down to make breakfast for him. And I took care of him like he was my own little boy. And I loved him very much. And I'm going to miss him for a long, long time.
So, Lorraine and Jonathan, they're going to sing us out with one of my favorite songs from the. But I'd like to thank everyone who helped out today, made today possible. Sherry, Bonnie, Larry, Lee, Scotty, Jill, Lorraine, Jonathan, Mary, Mark, and all of you for coming out. We really do appreciate it. It's been a great day, great afternoon, reminiscing on Ben. And I don't think I'll ever stop reminiscing on Ben. So after the song, please, help yourself. We're gonna have some hors d'oeuvres here. Help yourself to drink as well. And cheers.
Yeah. Cheers to Ben.
Cheers.
I just want to thank Blaze for all the hard work she did. I mean, what an amazing trip. Months and not only did we hang out and live the life of Ben Peller, but I mean, she brought it, guys. She brought it. So thanks, Blaze.
One more hand for Blaze for putting together this whole event. I know you guys are really close. Yeah, great job. And thank you everyone for coming out today and honoring Ben.